Hi friends, it's Laura. Welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about the beautiful Philodendron Plowmanii. Now this is definitely one of my favorite plants. It is gorgeous. It has these huge heart-shaped pillowy leaves with the silver variegation. Now I've been told that I actually have a Philodendron Plowmanii citrus, which means it has a little bit more silver variegation. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I love this plant. I've been growing it for a few years and I'm going to share with you all of my growing tips. Now for a potting mix for this plant, you want to make sure that you are using a very chunky, airy mix. This plant is going to love that type of mix. You can make your own potting mix by adding things like leca or perlite or orchid bark to a bag of regular potting mix. That can work totally fine. You can also look for a potting mix that is specifically made for aroids or tropical plants. That is going to be perfect for this type of plant. Philodendron Plowmanii is a crawler, which means the stem crawls across the soil and then the petioles come out from there. That means you're gonna want a pot that has room for the stem to crawl across. Now I have two different setups here. I have one really wide pot and then I have a tall, narrow pot. The tall narrow pot I made actually, I designed it for the Plowmanii so that the pot could support the really tall petioles. This pot is more wide and shallow and that works well because I have this one up really high so that the leaves can kind of bow down and be more at eye level. So you can style the plant as you like, but just make sure that the plant has enough room to crawl across the soil. And if it does get to the edge of the pot, you're going to have to snip it and propagate it. That brings me to propagation. So if you'd like to propagate this plant, obviously I have propagated mine. You're gonna wanna use some fairly large pruning shears because the stem is pretty thick. And you are going to find somewhere on the stem that has at least 2 or more nodes in front of it. And then you are going to snip and let that cutting callus over for about 48 hours. And then you can put it into a vase with water and it will root up. And then you can plant it and have a second plant like I have here. When I propagated this plant, I was fully intending to sell the baby plant, but I just love it so much that I am keeping it. For watering, I have found that this plant does like to dry out a little bit between waterings. So I just check it with my moisture meter to be sure. If it's a 2 or under, I will water. I always make sure that this plant can drain so that I never overwater it. So make sure that whatever planter you put it in, there is a drainage hole so any excess water can just drain out the bottom. I like to fertilize this plant every single time I water with a diluted gentle fertilizer. It seems to really love that and keeps putting out lots of new leaves. Now for light, this plant prefers bright, indirect light. Now, what does that mean? It means that the plant is in a room with a bright sunny window, but the plant is pulled a few feet away from that window. I have experimented with putting this plant really close up to the window, but I did see some brown spots appear. I think the leaves burnt in that situation. I would not put this plant in a really dark corner. It does need its light to put out new leaves. If you are using a grow light, make sure that the plant is not directly underneath the grow light because again, leaves can burn. I like to clean the leaves of my Philodendron Plowmanii whenever they start to look dusty. This of course makes the plant look even more stunning because the leaves will be nice and clean and glossy. But it also helps the plant photosynthesize more efficiently because the plant is not covered in dust and debris. I find that cleaning the leaves often also helps to reduce and prevent pest issues. I have had thrips on this plant in the past, but because I regularly clean the leaves, I saw them as soon as they started to affect the plant and I was able to treat them right away. I like to use a foliar spray that both cleans the leaves and helps to prevent pest outbreaks. There are lots of options out there, of course. I'll link the ones that I like. I'm using these silly little plant gloves to clean my plant. You can, of course, use a cloth, whatever you have around. These gloves just came with one of my foliar sprays and I like to use them. It's fun. Doesn't it look beautiful? All right, friends, that is all from me for today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. And if you are wanting to prevent pests on your Philodendron Plowmanii or any other plant you may be growing, click on this video. It's gonna help you out a lot. I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you next time. Bye.